I didn't do it that time. Welcome to Before Floor here, an extension of 5 on the Floor on the 5 Reasons YouTube channel. We're coming to you an hour before the Clippers play the Heat over at Staples Center. I will be in that building for the second straight night. Again, I apologize. I'm going to head over there shortly after this episode finishes. Also, make sure, of course, you check out Post Up 5R after the game tonight. And who knows, maybe one of my colleagues here will stay awake for the entire game, and there'll be a podcast on 5 on the Floor so Alex doesn't completely burn out. All right, let's get to it. Here are the sponsors of today's show. Our friends over at Biscayne Bay Brewing. Of course, you can find that all over Florida, including Orlando. Okay, I know some of you are from that area. You need a basketball team to root for, and you've chosen the Heat. You can get Biscayne Bay Brewing all the way up there. They are the official beer of the Miami Marlins, also of the 5 Reasons Sports Network. You get the Marlins Lager, the Tropical Bay IPA, the Pastime Pilsner, and all of their other great beers at many, many Publixes and Whole Foods all over South Florida, as well as many restaurants. We were at Quarter Deck the other night, and they had Marlins Lager there, right there on the menu. So make sure you ask for it by name. You want to support local, which is us. It's also them, and it's also great beer. And you can see by the way that they're growing. You can find them, of course, at the Brew House at Marlins Park, but also that's still what I call it, by the way. And also, because I don't know, Lone Deep, I don't know, Lone Shark Stadium. And then also, you can find it at the Miami Heat Arena as well, which I'm still going to call American Airlines Arena. That's in the 100 and the 300 levels. So get your Biscayne Bay Brew while you're watching 5 Reasons Sports. Also, check out our sponsor, Mark Brown. MarkBrownPA.com is where you want to go. If you want a better future, it's right there. That's right. He's the guy to go to. He's the man with a plan. Get an estate plan from him. If you're young with a family, which I know a lot of our audience is, you want to get on this early. Make sure that the right people are getting your money, okay, if anything happens to you. So go to Mark Brown, M-A-R-C, BrownPA.com. He also handles debt defense, bankruptcy, and many other things, and home closings, okay, too. He handles that. He did that for me, and he did a tremendous job. So reach out to Mark, Teresa, and everybody else in that office. Again, it's MARCBrownPA.com, and there's the phone number, 954-566-5678. All right, let's get to it. Here's who I've got tonight. We've got Ricky next to me, Brady next to him, Greg right below him, Alejandro Villegas, our producer, and then Jonathan Ramlakan in the Star Wars Vertigear chair. All right, let's start with Brady because this is actually more significant than it's probably been at any time this season. Who's in, who's out?
Yeah, the main one is Jimmy Butler is out, which I think is actually a good thing, which may sound kind of crazy, but I think Jimmy Butler's a guy that kind of likes to push back and tries to jump right back into games like Kyle Lowry did. On a back-to-back, I think it's better that he takes 2 nights off, go back probably Saturday. I just think that's a better bet. And then Tyler Hero, Bam Adebayo, Max Strus were all questionable, and they're all warming up with the intention to play, which basically means they're going to play. But as we saw that one game with Bam, they said he was going to intend to play, but he didn't. But I would expect them to play. I think Max Strus playing is actually pretty huge because being without Jimmy, being without Markieff, their depth was going to be even worse than it was last night, which is kind of crazy.
Duncan.
Okay. You jumped in before me there. That's exactly what I say. I'm playing without Duncan Robinson also, right, Ricky? Pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
That's the analysis tonight. All right, I don't know if that's my rum and coke speaking that makes that so funny, or it's just the way that Ricky presented that. But yeah, I mean, let's go to it, Greg. And our guy Sean Rochester, I thought, wrote a really good piece about this, about what's the time for panic, and or when is it just this is a blip, basically, is sort of what he got into with Duncan. But you can't really ignore it at this point. I mean, I think we all sort of said, okay, he'll progress to the mean, so to speak, right? And then you saw, other players have tried to take pressure off him, whether it's Lowry or Butler. But last night, what I got out of being at those post-game pressers at Staples Center, everybody said the same thing about Duncan. It's almost like they were coached to say it. He's the first one in the gym. He's the last one to leave. So he'll work it out. He cares. I mean, the reality is, okay, he can care all he wants. And I think we all agree Duncan's a great guy. He's a great representation of the franchise and what they can develop. But if he doesn't start making shots, the criticism is going to be warranted.
Oh, for sure. Listen, I don't think we're there yet. I think that we all should take a page out of Cooper Moorhead's playbook. He suggested to a fan on Twitter, a member of Heat Twitter, that let's not start worrying about Duncan unless he's still shooting like this in January. So let's take the wise Cooper Moorhead's advice and wait until January till we get too worked up. But let's just say this, to get the kind of contract that he did and to be, averaging 10 points a game, that's 3 points down from his average. We all know the 3-point shooting struggles. Like, the optics of getting that deal and then coming into this season and not playing well, the Heat are either going to have to reel off a bunch of victories to keep the Wolves at bay, or the loud noises are going to continue with Duncan. I just don't know how he can avoid that. And the only thing that concerns me is that this is starting to get mental because of the noise surrounding it.
Right. Like, these things become kind of self-fulfilling at a certain point, right, Jonathan? Like, at first, it kind of starts out like, okay, there are a bunch of factors. Some of them may just be luck. Some of it just might be, this is what happens to shooters. It's happened to all great shooters at one point or another. I mean, even Steph Curry has had some down periods. But then it does become mental at a certain point, because when you can't dig yourself out of it, to me, the way I look at it is, it's like, as someone who doesn't sleep very much, okay, when I try to go to sleep, I cannot sleep, okay? I have no chance of sleep. I haven't napped in 45 years. I can't, okay, when I think about it. And I feel like that's where he's at right now. Like, he's thinking about it, so it's only going to get worse.
You need some therapist preferred.
I have some
therapist preferred.
Well played.
I get that with the code 5RSN, by the way, at therapistpreferred.com for 20% off. Thank you, Ricky. Much appreciated. Jonathan, go.
I was just gonna say, like to your point, it's right there, right? You think at the beginning of the season, maybe it's a different scheme. We're not running the dribble handoff through the offense through him anymore. He has to adjust to it. But now it's becoming more of, he's hesitating. He's not shooting the shots you want him to shoot all the time. And even when he's shooting, man, most of them don't even look close, right? He's hitting back iron, he's hitting backboard, he's airballing. Like, now it's getting to the point where it's like, okay, we know the physical is there. We know he can shoot. I mean, he's one of the best shooters on the planet. Where is the mental going to come back? When is, everybody being very kind to him, everybody kind of giving him a pass? When is that going to kind of catch up? Because when everybody's giving you a break and you're kind of, pooping the bed right now, that you still got to make some ground up. So your guys can only cover for you for so long. So it's scary to think when he's going to get out of the mental rut, but he's a shooter. I think that everybody around him is going to keep telling him to shoot, and he'll get out of it.
But a couple of things here. One, I don't think the points per game matter. That's not what it is. I think what's happening here is that he's missing open looks at momentum swinging times. That's the issue. It's not to me. It's not even ultimately percentage. It's just that when they need him to make a three this year, he doesn't. And then last night, it was compounded by the fact that, honestly, his missed layup, I know it's causing. I mean, it kind of cost them the game. Like, you look at, and even Spoelstra pointed out afterwards, without mentioning his name, but I was sitting there, with Snotto behind me, and as soon as that went off the rim and Malik Monk hit the three on the other end, we both said they're going to lose. Like, and they were going to win at that point. They were going to go up 9. And then he missed 2 out of 3 free throws and wasn't close on one of those. So this is beyond, I'm not getting shots in the same place that I was before.
Yeah.
Right?
And let me just sneak in with one thing that has been apparent to me the more that I dig into the numbers. And you guys know, like, I do numbers for a living, so I try to stay away from the numbers when we do basketball stuff, because, like, that's what I have to do all day. And, like, where this is really showing itself is, like, look at the fouls for Duncan Robinson. He's at a career high, over 3 fouls a game. In road games, he's almost at 4 fouls a game. And I know it's a small sample, but, like, when you start to see it bleed over onto that side, that's frustration. And that, like, to me, that's another sign that things just aren't centered for Duncan right now.
Thoughts, Ricky?
Yeah, look, couple things. I know there are some people in the comments talking about he needs to stop the podcast and worry about shooting. Look, okay, get over that. Stop. It's the guy sits down and does a 45-minute conversation. They just happen to tape it. And then his production people take care of that. That's one. Two, it's been said in the past that this is the kind of time that try men's souls. It's one thing to be an underdog that is surprising the league. It's another thing to be game planned for, and it's another thing to be on a team where your expectations are higher than they've ever been. Not everyone rises to that occasion. I'm not saying Duncan isn't going to rise to that occasion, but hey, who knows? Just because you got a contract in the offseason doesn't mean you're automatically going to be a great player. Not everyone meets those expectations. Fourthly or thirdly, I lost track of the list of things I was going to say. But Sean Rochester wrote a piece about whether or not it's something to be worried about or a blip. For those of you that are familiar with the MCU, the blip lasted 5 years, and we didn't hear from anybody during that time period. Just saying. But not to say that Duncan's going to disappear forever. It's just, blips make you disappear for a long time.
Well, but I think you make a good point here about the expectation level. And again, as we're all sort of avoiding watching the Dolphins right now,
I got it over on.
I think this is kind of what Brian Flores dealt with this year, right? Like, it's fine when no one expects anything from you. Like 2 years ago, where everybody thought the Dolphins would be one of the worst teams in history, and he won 5 out of his last 9 games.
I hate them so much.
Well, exactly.
All the time.
Exactly.
Every time.
Exactly. And it's another thing when they're 10-6, okay, and everybody's expecting something. And I feel like this is a Duncan thing. And to a certain degree, I think it hit Hero last year. I think the expectations for Tyler – Greg, don't pay attention. I think the expectations for Tyler went totally over the edge last season, which I think he had to deal with. I don't really know what the solution – we have seen other Heat players – historically struggle after getting big contracts. It's not the first time. Everybody will point to the 16, 17 signees, but even Eddie Jones, when he got the big money from Miami, to me, he took some time to figure out. Eddie, personality wise, reminds me a little of Duncan, like a little sensitive about certain things. Like he's kind of in it. So it wouldn't be
defender.
Well, yes. I mean, that's the one thing that Eddie did for sure. But the thing is, I do look at it like the expectation game has gotten to him. All right, let's get back to this game here real quick, and I got to get an Uber into the arena. I apologize to everybody for doing that, but I have to get to my seat. Tonight, okay? I know that the Heat are, as Brady said, shorthanded. There's no question, but they may get Strus back. Bam and Hero, Strus, Lowry. I mean, this should be enough, okay? I would think against a team that has 9 guys tonight and is really thin up front themselves. I mean, they don't have a lot of available bigs. So let's get to it, Greg. I mean, is Paul George the concern tonight? Or we've seen Reggie Jackson have some moments against the Heat over the years.
I think it's Paul George ultimately. The Clippers have won 5 straight, so they're playing well. And I just think that Paul George is definitely the guy that is going to hurt them. I think PJ is going to get a crack at him pretty quickly into this game. Batum has been shooting lights out. I went under on his 3-pointers on Prize Picks tonight. Shout out to Prize Picks. But this is
code
what
5.
I'm watching tonight, regardless of, use the code 5, by the way. Sorry, I never transitioned that so perfectly. But this is what I'm watching regardless of opponent. 2 straight games. Now, Miami leads the league in rebounding against the Nuggets and LA. They were out-rebounded both games. I want to see that turnaround. Like, that's, for me, much more telling than whatever happens versus this opponent in November.
Sean Rochester just hit on it.
Yeah, he ain't better.
If Justice is the RSHK, I quit. That would be the thing, wouldn't it? I mean, for those who know the insides of how that thing fell apart, there at the end. But he has to play tonight. Like, they don't really have a choice. Like
9 guys, he's gonna play for sure.
He's gonna play tonight.
6 corner threes.
I mean, you got to figure the way the Heat scout him, right? They're gonna leave him open
if you
for
thought
all
Duncan
of those,
missed
right?
badly.
Definitely.
Yeah, I would think. All right, Brady. Look, everybody, we were 0 for 5 last night. I mean, we just got to acknowledge that. I think everybody on this panel picked the Heat against the Lakers. I was reluctant, but I did it, so I'm in there in that boat with you. Are you picking them again tonight?
Yeah, I don't feel comfortable picking them against Utah again. I don't think they go 2-0 against Utah, even though it could kind of go either way if Jimmy Butler returns. But this game just feels like one where Miami's oddly good when they're not having that high expectation. You talked about expectations with Duncan Robinson, but at the Heat with expectations, somehow when they have a guy, obviously Kyle Lowry was out and they fell apart against Indiana, but they always kind of play above their heads in that way. And I think that you mentioned the front court depth for the Clippers is a major thing. If you have Bam Adebayo playing, if you have Dwayne Dedmon playing, you're talking about the first number 1 rebounding team against, I think, like the 23rd or something. Yeah. So they should kill them in that region. I think the Clippers defensively are a little scary, but with the 9 available players, once again, it's not as scary as it once would be. So I think that's interesting. But I think overall, Max Strus being able to play, really, it may sound crazy to have, but you're eighth or ninth guy be a difference maker in that way, but I really think it does because it would worry you if you had to plug in Casey or Paul or Udonis Haslem for second half minutes tonight, but you don't have to do that more as willingly with you have Max Strus. So even if he doesn't have a big game, obviously he's returning from that injury. You don't need 4 threes, 3 threes. You just need him to be out there and be a decent player for you and be a filler on the floor. So I think the Heat win.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on Strus. I think he's critical, but I'm also, you mentioned Akpala, and I said this on Dono's show. If there was ever any indication that they have no plans for him, it was last night. Okay, I mean, because they went, again, we said they had to play UD a little bit more this year, but the idea that they went to UD in that situation, particularly with who was on the floor, as opposed to Akpala, he's not even in Eric's head anywhere. He's just not there. And again, Gabe offensively is just not there either, unfortunately. I mean, I like the way he guards, but that's pretty much it. Jonathan, do they win tonight?
Yeah, I'm reluctant to pick them, honestly, because I feel like it's kind of, especially over the recent couple of games, has been tough. So I kind of want to pick the Clippers just to have some anti-bad luck with the Heat. So I'm going to take the Heat. Actually, no, screw it. I'm going to take the Clippers tonight, right? I'm going to say
reverse psychology. Ramlicon with the reverse.
I'm going to take the Clippers tonight. But what the Heat need to do to win, we need to make sure that we don't leave random guys open, right? We talk about random scrub Heat killers, but how many of these random guys are we giving open shots to, right? Of course, Malik Monk, he get in the rhythm and he hits some hard ones. But if you guys let guys get into a rhythm, they're going to get, they're going to shoot. And like Greg said, Reggie Jackson and Nick Batum, those are two guys that are known for hurting the Heat and having scoring outbursts especially against us. So I think it's going to be really key. I'm not as worried about Paul George because Spo always cuts off the head of the snake when we're playing opposing teams with one good player. So I think it's going to come down to shutting down the other guys. I think, like you said, that front court depth is really important. Bam did a good job drawing fouls from the front court of the Lakers. So obviously he fouled as well. But I think if we were able to foul, draw some fouls in that front court, key in on the role players, I think, like I said, Paul George is going to find his own. I think we can get it done.
Ricky, I'll go to my pick last here because Ricky, you go ahead, and then
I'll
go.
First of all, Angel Silva, $25 to my Venmo, and we'll talk about it. Secondly, I think we're in a situation where it's 2 steps back, 8 steps forward for this Heat team. Meaning, they lost to the Lakers last night. They're probably going to lose to the Clippers tonight, but they're probably going to go on a tear shortly thereafter. I think
Utah is where they're going on a tear. See, I don't think
no guts. I didn't even get to make a pick because Ethan knows my pick by now.
That's the thing. Why not? I mean, maybe they end up losing to Utah too, but this team is primed for a solid run through December because remember, this team's not going to be playing on Christmas Day, and they're going to be feeling some type of way about that. They're going to be playing pretty. I imagine they'll be playing pretty well midway through December and early into January. So I think they'll probably lose tonight. It's not their fault. Kind of like a schedule loss that suddenly became a schedule loss. And lastly, I know there are a lot of people that are talking about roster spots, and I was one of them talking in the offseason, but I think it's safe to say that we've entered a situation where that 13th or 14th man probably would have helped you. And the culture king himself looked his age last night, and it didn't help. That novelty with Dwight Howard from last season? It didn't help last night.
Can I just say Kyle Lowry makes too much money to not get big scoring nights if Jimmy's out that. We need to talk about that.
I went over on everything Kyle tonight on Prize Picks. Basically, it's almost a dare. I think he's 2.5 3-pointers on Prize Picks, and I think he gets 3 or more. Greg, go with the pick though.
Oh well, you know what I'm picking. I just was trying to.
I know.
For suspense.
I don't like them tonight. I don't. I really don't. And that's troubling because I don't like them against Utah either. And I know I'm going to get the no guts thing, but I think there are so many issues with Jimmy out that I just don't think have been totally solved yet. I think by the end of the season they may be. That they'll have a better handle on how to play without him. But I think it was a little bit of a head fake early in the season on it. And I just don't think they're there. Caleb Martin is a nice story. And I do think he's a bottom end rotation player, but you're asking Caleb Martin to replicate things that Jimmy Butler does. And I just don't think it's possible. I'm with Brady on this though. I do think Strus is a wild card tonight if he actually goes. I think that the ability to sit Duncan when he's not performing for you is something Eric needs that at his disposal. He has not had it. Okay.
So does Pat.
Well, that's the big issue. And we've talked about this, and I think this is time for another episode, and we'll get into it. And we appreciate our sponsors and all our commenters. Of course, BarkBrownPA.com, Prize Picks, use the code 5, and also Biscayne Bay Brewing. But I keep coming back to Pat Riley's answer to me about Duncan Robinson when I asked him at the presser if he was going to close games, and he said maybe if he's on a bad team. I'm sorry. Every joke that Pat has ever told has a little bit of hint of truth in it. And I just think it, right? He backpedaled, Greg, on it, but that was his initial response, right? Their initial response is always to give Duncan a hard time. And I know there are some guys who are just self-deprecating, and he is, okay, and he's likable.
They kept him because Spo wanted to keep him.
Thank you. Right, exactly.
Box out the hate, which he can't, so keep it coming.
Well, look, Tyler Hero, let's here. If he wants to look in his own locker room, right, guys? I mean, he wants to look in his own locker room and see Tyler Hero has done that. He compartmentalized, he worked, and he's shooting 43% from 3. Okay, so we'll see if Duncan can do that. Well, that's true too. All right, thanks to everybody. I'm going over to the arena tonight. We'll have pictures and sound. And my sound, I'm sorry, everybody, on my I don't know what's going on with my iPhone. I'm telling you, it's an iPhone 11, and for some reason, the audio, it sounds like I'm going through the subway. I don't get it. So we apologize in advance for my photos, my audio, everything else. Alejandro is going to take you up through pregame. Greg is staying awake tonight. We are starting a fund to keep Greg awake tonight.
Listen, I got to get up really early every morning. I'm sorry, guys.
Post game, y'all.
But I'm in tonight.
The way to do it is never sleep. Have a good night.
Remember the post up. After the game. Royal A. Shepherd. Come on.
Right. Post up and also join our friends from Pace and Spaces at halftime. As soon as the second quarter is over, you can go over to Twitter, and then as soon as the game is over, you can come here for the 5 Reasons post-up show, the post-game show, right after the Clippers and Miami Heat game is over. So let's go and read some of your guys' comments, and then we're gonna listen to some of the press conferences. Ethan West Internet, did I just hear Tyler rebounding slander? And then it says buffering. Yeah, something's going on with Ethan's phone. It's not just the audio, it's the pictures, it's the videos. I don't know what he did with that phone, so we don't actually have an answer for you. So we're gonna go ahead and listen to last night's press conferences after that tough loss in overtime, 120 to 117 in one overtime against the Lakers. So let's go ahead and listen to that, and then we'll wait for the starting lineup tonight. Again, no Jimmy Butler. He's not gonna be available tonight.
We're up 9 midway through the fourth quarter. What turned for your team there after you had gone to that lead?
Yeah, I don't know. I thought we were still getting some good looks and reads, and I think there was a couple times we could have extended that. A missed layup and went back the other way for a 3 for a quick 5-point swing, really fast. Just gave him a little bit of life. I feel like that would have given us a little bit more separation and just killed the momentum. That's not blaming anything. That's just, and then they made shots. I mean, I think they made 3 bank threes, in this game. Made some tough shots. Monk hit one at the end of the clock that we double teamed him, and he double clutched it and somehow got it off. I don't even know how he got that off. I was pretty pleased with, how we were defending and the looks, down the stretch. At the very end, we got jammed up a couple times, but for the most part, in a really competitive fourth quarter like that, I thought we did enough, to put ourselves in a position to win. We just couldn't close it out.
And then Jimmy, it seemed like he turned the ankle during the first quarter, but played through it. So sort of, what was it?
I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see, tomorrow.
So in Bam's effort, obviously the loss, but come out in the second half after finally fought each other the first half, taking on a bigger role without Jimmy. What did he do to kind of, give you guys that lead in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, we were playing a lot of pick and roll. Basketball and Kyle did a great job of just getting the ball to him in the pocket, with momentum going to the rim. He was able to, make some of those, mid-range shots. kind of open things up for them. And that's not easy to do when you sit in frustration through a competitive first half and you're out with foul trouble, and then be able to come back and have the mental toughness to have a really good second half, is unique. And he was great in the second half. It'd been nice to have him for both halves.
And the minutes that UD and Omir gave you, obviously with Tulane and Bam in foul trouble. So what do you think about their?
Yeah, I thought it was good. I mean, they both gave us, something different. Of course, UD, play him whatever minutes, he's going to draw a charge. There's going to be some skirmishes, 3 yards in a cloud of dust, anytime that he's around. He always just inspires everybody with those kind of intangible plays. And then O gave us, some solid minutes. He was big. We needed that size against their front line. And that's what we've said, all year long. We feel our depth is one of our strengths, and we had to go to it, pretty deep into our bench tonight.
Tyler ended up getting 2 looks at 3 inside of 10 seconds. Do you remember the first one?
Yeah, the first one, Westbrook jammed him up. I thought Westbrook had a really good defensive possession on that one. And that's, part of youth. Tyler wanted to go for the kill. And I don't blame him for that. That's what I love about the kid. It's probably another play to maybe put the ball on the floor and see if something opens up if you're driving the paint. But Tyler wants those moments. And, the second one, I thought he had a great look. He bobbled it, and he still had time to get off a clean look. You're not going to get a better one than that. And he's a clutch player, clutch shooter. So we're okay with that.
Coach, we seem to often have a game where you miss a free throw, you miss a layup, like you miss, I think he was 3 for 13 from 3. Like, what do you tell him to help get him out of it? Or
Same thing I mentioned a couple of games ago. This is a game I honestly felt that with 13 attempts, that could have been 18, 20 attempts. That's the biggest thing. You just keep on playing to the strengths, take your shots that are available, and leave the coach to make the decision whether to keep on riding with you or not. But I wanted to play aggressively, with almost reckless abandon, hunting for 3-point opportunities. It changes everything for us, and he's one of the best shooters on this planet. You're going to go through times where the ball's not going in, but you have to continue to take them. And he had some really good, clean looks. It'll come. I have no doubt about that. You just have to stay with it, which he does. He has incredible perseverance. It's unique, uncommon perseverance.
When did you know that Jimmy wouldn't be back?
When I was going to put him back in the second quarter. He wasn't on the bench.
Eric, with someone like Jimmy, you mentioned this with Kyle too. I mean, do you sometimes have to sort of hold them back a little bit because they're inclinations to try to play? So how do you manage that situation?
Yeah, you have to, have great communication with the training staff. And then talk to Jimmy. Not the other way around.
All right, that was Eric Spoelstra last night after that loss against the Los Angeles Lakers. I want to remind you guys that the Clippers tonight, they have only 9 players available. It's going to be Paul George, Reggie Jackson, Luke Kennard, Terrence Mann, Ivica Zubac, Eric Bledsoe, Nicolas Batum, Isaiah Hartenstein, and Justice Winslow. Those are the 9 players available for the Clippers. No Jimmy Butler tonight for the Miami Heat, and we're waiting for the starting lineup to come up in the Miami Heat Twitter account. So let's continue listening to the press conferences from last night, and here's the next one. Here we go.
And what's it like
Bye.
to have to sit for so long in the first half, still try to stay warm and then come back and do what you did?
About these got 2 fouls in the first half. But that's adversity. That's what builds character. That's what puts you in a place where you fall back on how the character is built, fighting through adversity. So I wish we could have got the dub.
Speaking of the adversity, to be up 9 midway, even later than midway in the fourth quarter, what turned there after you finally, for the first time in the game, broke to a somewhat sizable lead?
So what turned?
Yeah, what changed once you got up at the 9? I saw the bank in threes also, but I'm asking you.
Yeah, that shit. It was just a wild game from start to finish. Said, we fought through adversity the whole game, and making a big run at the end.
In the second half with Jimmy out, how much did your offensive role change? It just seemed like you were back to the handoffs and a lot of the offense was going for you there late in the game.
Next man up. Went down. So next man up. So coach called 13.
Damn, how tough was it to put what happened Monday night behind you guys?
More worried about this game. Tonight. We lost this game instead of Monday.
Dan, Tyler had another really good night, 7 points. Seeing him develop.
Just by seeing him work out every day. The kid got in the gym, worked out 2-3 times a day, and some of the shots he take, he works on them. So that's when everybody that's a bad shot. That's Tyler works on that. So we don't even make a face when he do certain stuff. It's just him being creative and figuring out ways to score.
I know you guys aren't worried about Duncan. Obviously, he's one of the best pushers in the league. What do you guys tell him during this kind of tough start to the season for him just shooting wise?
Keep shooting the ball. He's one of those guys who gets to the gym early, stays late, and he's one of those guys that's gonna keep working. So you just tell him keep shooting the ball, keep building his confidence. Eventually start falling.
Thank you.
All right, that was Bam Adebayo. Again, after they lost the 120-117 loss against the Los Angeles Lakers. Let's read some of you guys' comments that came in while we were listening to Eric Spoelstra and Bam Adebayo. So we have Marcus Hart. I believe we win by 10. So remember, you're still on time to go to Price Picks. Use the promo code 5FIVE and get a 100% match on your deposit. So if you deposit $25, you get 50 to play. If you deposit 50, you get 100, and if you deposit 100, you get 200. So you get the idea right there. Please, Duncan, don't build a house with bricks tonight. Yesterday he missed more than a couple of open ones. So yeah, I agree with you. Hopefully it's a better night for Duncan. Marcus Hart says Casey Gabe is out of their dog. At the deadline, they will open up some roster spots for buyout guys. We'll see what happens. Jose Matos says Spo knows his player better than us. Carlo Manuel says an 0-5 road trip looms, bad times. Yeah, I mean, especially after that tough loss last night. Spo says he wants Duncan to play aggressively. LOL. Good luck with that one, Spo. Well, I think he's been aggressive. He's taking a lot of shots, even though he's not making a good percentage. He is staying aggressive. So we'll see. Duncan's gonna have 2 fouls in the first 2 minutes for being aggressive, and he left. Well, that's been another problem of Duncan, right? Not only that he's not making the same amount of threes as he was making the first couple of seasons, but he's also getting a lot of fouls and foul calls, and a little bit of still gaining respect from the referees. in the league. So that's part of it. We're still waiting for the Miami Heat to post their starting lineup again at 10:30 p.m. Eastern time. That game should be starting. Oh, here we have it. So the starting lineup for tonight, we're gonna have Tyler Hero is going to be included in the starting five. So it's going to be Bam Adebayo, Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero, PJ Tucker, and Kyle Lowry. Again, Bam Adebayo, Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero, PJ Tucker, and Kyle Lowry. That's the starting five for the Miami Heat tonight. Let's continue listening to some of the press conferences, and then we'll get ready to watch the game tonight. Miami Heat facing the Los Angeles Lakers. Back-to-back nights in LA with both teams over there, Lakers and now Clippers, with Ethan Skolnick, who's going to be covering the game.
Be up by
over there.
9 midway
Kyle
through the
Lowry.
fourth quarter. What turned at that point? Sort of what changed when you finally seemed to seize the momentum?
They made shots. They got really. They made a couple threes. Bank a three. Clear three. We missed some open looks. We kept pushing the pace, so I'm happy with our tempo and our pace towards the end of the game. But they made some good shots at the end, and you know we kind of lost that game.
You and Tyler have developed a lot of synergy already. What does that process look like? What is it like?
He's a really good, talented player. For me, it's my job to keep his confidence high, and I think our team has done a good job of, continue to push, for him to be more aggressive, more assertive, and no matter what happens, ups and downs, he just keeps, being aggressive. For me, it's easy to just keep, I've been around a lot of young guys with potential like his, and for me, it's easy to just continue to keep positivity in his game and keep positivity in his mind.
How Jimmy had made it back to the bench by the end of the game. What did he say to you guys about his injury or whatnot?
Nothing.
Did he give any indication if he's doing okay or he's hurt?
He didn't say anything. He just said keep working.
You've been in the league a long time, obviously, and been through a lot. But there's that picture of you guys in Denver after the game on Monday, standing in the hallway. Had you ever been a part of something like that level of emotion? And how long did it take you to get past what happened that night?
I mean, that's over with. It was a moment where we stood together for our teammates, and that was that. That moment's over. We just played a game in LA, lost that game, and it was days ago. So I mean, it's gone.
Kyle, you've lost 3 or 4. Is there anything specific? Is there a specific bond or thing that's carried over that makes those games sort of concerning from one particular element, perhaps?
No. Same season. We wasn't going to go a perfect record. We've got to continue to get better every single night. I mean, we've lost to 2 good teams and as a team, but all we can do is get better. Continue to work. We have a game tomorrow. That's about it. For me, stay level no matter what. How many wins in a row? How many losses in a row? Just stay level. A long season, and as I said before, like you said, I've been in the league a long time, so staying right here.
Kyle, we're not just seeing Duncan struggle for any length of time with his shooting. I know every shooter goes through slumps. When you've gone through them over the course of your career, how did you get yourself out of them? I remember a 2016 series against the Heat where you were struggling a little at the beginning and it picked up as the series went on. What did you do to get yourself out of it?
Shit, I'm in the slump with him. No, man, listen, you just got to continue to shoot the ball. I'm not necessarily worried about Duncan. I think he's a kid that wants to strive to be the best shooter there is, and to live up to the contract he's got. He's missing just easy shots, and they'll fall, and he'll go through a stretch where he'll go 20 for 25, 30 for 45, and when that stretch comes, all these games early don't really matter. Like, for right now, we need him to just continue to get better, knowing when he's going to get his shots. And when we need the most, and that's later on longer through the season, we need him to know where his shots are going to come and just get comfortable. And I think, honestly, we haven't really shot the ball from 3 well as a team the whole season. We've had a couple good games with that, but I think we're still trying to get used to how we're playing and different, philosophy and different offensive techniques, and knowing where our spots are.
Kyle, where are you with your comfort, though? I mean, you just kind of joked that you're also kind of just, where are you with that?
With the team, with this group.
Oh, I'm here. I mean, I'm out here. I guess these guys have done a great job of allowing me to be me, and I'm always going to be me. So it's been an easy, smooth transition. We have a great organization. We have a great coaching staff. We have great teammates. We have great, just overall camaraderie. Right? For me, it's just coming in here and being me, and not worried about messing up or making mistakes. And this is the type of organization team that you want to play for, where everyone just wants to see everyone enjoy each other's successes.
The other day, Kyle, this is kind of a bigger picture question about you. Eric was comparing the way you screen as a point guard.
Eric, Spo.
Yeah, I'm not a big nickname guy. But so anyway, he was comparing the way you screen to John Stockton, like the way that you get guys open as a screener from the point guard spot. Were you aware of that comparison, and how do you view that skill that you have, being able to screen the way you do?
To be compared to a guy like John Stockton, I mean, it's incredible, right? He's one of the best point guards to ever play our game. I just want to give my guys easy looks, do things to help the team be successful. And they say when the guy who sets the screen is always open. So set the screen, you get open. Any more great questions? If not, thank you. I appreciate it. See you tomorrow.
All right, that was Kyle Lowry again last night after the Miami Heat lost 120-117 to the Los Angeles Lakers. The starting lineup for tonight: Tyler Hero is in the starting five. So the first five on the floor are going to be Bam Adebayo, Duncan Robinson, PJ Tucker, Kyle Lowry, and Tyler Hero. That's the starting five for the Miami Heat. Let's finish up our pregame coverage for tonight with one last press conference, and then we're going to be getting ready for the game tonight. Tyler Hero, the starting five tonight. Last night about
the first
after
one,
the
I feel
Lakers
like,
game.
it was a good look. Could have got a better one. And Kyle talked about probably giving it to my left hand opposed to my right, and then second shot, great look. Make that shot 9 times out of 10. So it was move on, and come in, and fall tonight.
Tyler, if Jimmy does have to miss time, it looked like you were very comfortable with the starters at the start of the third quarter. So if you need to make that transition, do you feel comfortable from the outset playing with the other four guys like that?
Yeah, whatever Spo needs, whatever this team needs, I'm willing to do. I don't mind coming off the bench, don't mind starting, whatever I need to do.
Tyler, I know even in your short career, you've had really high highs in terms of your shooting, and then sometimes where you weren't shooting the ball as well as you'd liked. We've seen Duncan go through a struggle we're not really used to seeing from him over the past 10 games of the season. You had any conversations with him, or just maybe get him out of his own head, or anything along those lines as a shooter yourself?
Yeah, I mean, all shooters go through slumps. Duncan's one of the hardest working guys. His team, first one in the gym, last one to leave. He's been the best shooter in the world since I've known him. So we're not worried about Duncan. When he doesn't shoot 10, 15 threes, that's when we're mad at him. We're not mad at him for missing or anything like that. So as long as he keeps shooting, we'll be in good shape.
Players often remind Duncan to keep shooting, like you just said, but what growth have you seen from him kind of in dealing with these slumps in the season? Like you said, they're inevitable, right? But how, I guess, does he handle them now maybe compared to previous seasons?
Yeah, I mean, I think the work speaks for itself. He's, like I said, one of the first ones in, last one to leave, every day. And you can't tell whether he's 6 for 10, 8 for 10, 3 for 10. He's always the same guy, same approach every single day. So I'm not worried about it.
Tyler, what specifically, I mean, when Jimmy went out, like how much more of an emphasis in the offense was there on you, particularly from a ball handling standpoint? Like what changed specifically when he was out of the game? You guys had to kind of reassess where you were going offensively.
Yeah, I mean, any time your best player is out, things change. I think obviously the ball's in my hand a little bit more, with him out, and then I think the rotation was a little different with him being out, obviously. So hopefully we get him back quick.
All right.
Thanks, Tyler.
All right, that was Tyler Hero again in the starting lineup for tonight's game against the Los Angeles Clippers. Thank you very much for joining us in this late pregame show. We're still waiting for about 15 minutes for the beginning of the game. Miami Heat visiting the Los Angeles Clippers on Saturday. They're going to be traveling to Utah to continue this West Coast trip. So thank you very much to all of you that are still here. And remember, we're going to be doing pace and spaces at halftime. So if you can, join us there on Twitter, pace and spaces with Tony, with Marco, with Sean. They're going to be hosting that as soon as the second quarter is over. And then after the game's over, last night I was up until 1 a.m., but the guys from the post-up show stayed up even later. It was a clutch corner takeover. Tonight we have the post-up show again. As soon as the game is over, come here to the YouTube channel and we're going to be doing the post-up show. If you want to follow me, here you have my Twitter handle and my account on Instagram at AlejandroVG32. We're going to be posting a lot of content, a lot of different sports, especially Miami Heat this season. Have a good night, enjoy the game, and we will see you soon here on the 5 Reasons YouTube channel. Have a good one.